Hi, for this video what I want to do is show you how to fill in the coordinates of the unit circle. I have already gone through and filled out all of the degree measures and the radian measures. I do have a video that addresses how to remember all of those, which I will put a link to. But for this one, the purpose is to just look at the coordinates. Okay, so before we start, let's talk about a couple of things that will help us with setting this up, because if you can remember quadrant 1 and quadrant 1 only, the rest of filling in the unit circle becomes very easy. So there's a couple things that I want you to remember about the coordinate plane. Is remember first that our coordinates are always x comma y. So we always list our x coordinate first, our y coordinate. The radius of the unit circle is always 1. So we're dealing with a radius of 1, which makes it easier to deal with. Okay. We also want to remember that in our unit circle, that the coordinates in quadrant 1 are always positive, x positive y. In quadrant 2, because we always rotate counterclockwise, the x coordinates are negative, but the y coordinates are positive. In quadrant 3, we have negative and negative. And then in quadrant 4, our x coordinates are positive, but our y coordinates are negative. So like I said, once you set up quadrant 1, quadrant 2, 3, and 4 are easy because they just repeat. The only thing that changes is the signs. Okay, so since our radius is 1, we know that when we come to this point here, that it's equal to the radius. So we've gone out 1 unit to the right and 0 units up. So this is where I always start, is starting with the easy ones, the 1s and 0s. Okay, for this one here, because of the fact that we went 0 left or right and we just went up 1, over here we went to the left 1 and we didn't go up or down any. And then our last one that's easy to fill in is this point is 0, negative 1. So that's always our starting point, is those coordinates. Okay, now if you look at quadrant 1, we have 2 types of triangles that are going to show up. We are either going to have 45, 45, 90 triangles or 30, 60, 90 triangles. And I have a video that addresses all of the rules for them, but if you look at the 45, 45, 90, and I'm going to draw as best as I can a triangle. So if you notice, there is a triangle formed right here. Okay, the relationship between these is that this is the hypotenuse, which is 1, and like I said, I do have a video that addresses setting this up. This side over here becomes square root of 2 over 2, and this side is square root of 2 over 2. So I will put a link to the video for you to watch of how I got those values. Okay, so if you just know that in a 45, 45, 90, when the hypotenuse is 1, this side is going to be square root of 2, square root of 2. So for all of the 45, 45, 90 triangles, we would just put that this is square root of 2 over 2 and square root of 2 over 2 because they are equal to each other. Okay, so if I continue filling this in at all of the 45 degrees, which is the midpoints between, and it's really the midpoint of the arc between the 2 axes. So this one here, the only difference between this one and the last one is that my x coordinate is now negative. So this is negative square root of 2 over 2. And this is positive square root of 2 over 2. So then I would find my 45 degree relationship down here. And they're both negative. So I would have negative square root of 2 over 2 and negative square root of 2 over 2. And then my last one, the first one stays positive. The second one stays negative. So again, like I said, it repeats for all of them in every single quadrant. Okay, so now let's look at the 30, 60, 90 triangle. So for this one here, if you notice, we have a triangle that forms here. So what we have is this angle down here is 30 degrees, which means that the side opposite of this is the small side. And if you watch the video that I set up for the 30, 60, 90 and the 45, 45, 90, it shows you how I got the relationship between the two. But if this is 1, the height of this one is always going to be 1/2. And this side over here, I take the 1/2 and multiply it by the square root of 3 So this side ends up being the square root of 3 over 2. So if I write it first, this is square root of 3 over 2, and this is going to be 1/2. Okay, so then if I look over here, this triangle, has a 30-degree relationship with the axis. So this one is going to be the same thing over here. So basically what I'm doing is I'm just folding this point over here. So this becomes negative square root 3 over 2 comma 1/2. And this one folds over, and so both of them are negative. So I have negative square root of 3 over 2, negative 1/2. And then if you fold it over to this one, it becomes positive square root of 3 over 2 and negative 1/2. So again, you're just following in the same patterns over and over again. So we have one last relationship, okay, that we need to talk about, and that is the 30, 60, 90 triangle, but now we've switched it around to where the 60-degree angle is here and the 30-degree angle is up here. Okay, so basically what's going to happen is it's just going to reverse these coordinates. Is the 30 is going to be my x coordinate, and the opposite of the 60, the square root of 3 over 2. So these will just switch. The x and y coordinates switch for the 30, 60, 90s because of the angle measure here. Okay, so again, we just follow symmetry. This becomes negative 1/2 square root of 3 over 2. Both of them are negative here, so I get negative 1/2 negative square root of 3 over 2. This one is positive 1/2 and negative square root of 3 over 2. So really, if you know the relationship between the 45, 45, 90 triangles and the 30, 60, 90 triangles, coming up with the coordinates is very easy. Okay, in other videos, I will address how to find like cosine, sine, tangent, because with this, basically, you will find that the x is always going to be the cosine and the y is always going to be sine. So this is an important relationship that I will address in other videos, but for this one, I just wanted you to see how to fill in the coordinates. As always, thanks for watching. If you have any questions, please let me know. If there are additional topics you need me to cover, please let me know that as well.